with journals, art projects, organized, planner chic.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Organized Planner Chic. I'm Lucinda, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so and select the bell for notifications. Well, before I go any further, I want to be sure and thank all my patrons who support me on Patreon and make it possible to create videos like this. Thank you so much, my patrons. And if you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, just go to patreon.com/organizedplannerchic. All right, you guys, I just wanted to point out that I've got my fall hair on. It's finally cooled off enough now in the Phoenix area that I don't have to pull my hair back because it's so hot. It's still warm, but it's cool enough that I can, do a little something. All right. Anyway, for today's video, you guys, what I'm going to do is another DIY spruce up of a Dollar Tree planner, a couple of them actually, for the personal size planner sizes. So you can use this in your traveler's notebook or any personal size planner, but I'm going to show you how you can glam it up. All right, so let's get to it. Okay, you guys, here are the supplies I'm going to use. I'm going to use a pencil, the glue stick only on one little part. You'll see a ruler to measure just a little bit, some stencils, but I only wind up using one of those, and then a bone folder, two different types of craft paper, and two different types of Dollar Tree planners, a monthly and a weekly, some markers, and a paper trimmer. All right, so I got both a monthly and a weekly planner from the Dollar Tree, and this one, I think this is the monthly. Yeah, the monthly one came with a plastic sleeve, which we are going to use. And so we want a different cover than what's here, obviously. And I did this step a little bit backwards from the way I probably should have. I should have removed the cover first, which we'll do in a little bit by taking the staples out, because it would have made it easier to trace this, but that's okay. It all worked out just fine. And so you just need, if you're going to do it this way without measuring, which is my first inclination, is to just do it like this, is to get something heavy to sit it on so it won't move, and then you can trace. Now, if I hadn't, or if I had removed the cover first, it would have been a lot easier to trace because I would have only had that one flat sheet of paper. But we're going to go ahead and use the paper trimmer to trim the size that we need. This one, I think this is Recollections. Yes, it is. This one has what do you call that? That pink part. Oh my gosh, I cannot think of the word. Score tool, or a space to score, and I use that mainly to make sure that where I think my line is going to cut is where it really is going to cut, so I can straighten up the paper if I need to. And so I went ahead and cut that out. I did mark it on the outside and not the inside because I wanted to make sure I knew where those flowers were going to lie or lay on there, so I had a little bit of pencil marking to erase there. Now this is me removing the staples. So I have a tool that lets me make booklets with the stapler. You'll see that in a little bit, but if you don't have that, then all you want to do is remove the staples. And if you don't have extra staple, well, actually this is the best. No, I guess it's easier to use a new staple. But what you would do is you would remove the staples and still fold over the paper like I'm doing here. And on the pages that you originally had the staple, you're just gonna put one of those sheets on the outside. You'll see me kind of mark it here in a little bit, and then you're just going to take a pencil to mark where the holes would be, and then you'll just take a new staple, and you can use like a little pin, a needle, something like that, to puncture the holes, because you don't want huge holes, but you want them to be big enough for you to see where the staples go. And then you would just stick the staples in there, and then take your bone folder or a butter knife and just fold them over to staple it. But I decided to use my tool, which is a Boss Stitch stapler that lets you make booklets, and I didn't punch the staples in perfectly where the previous staples had been, but that's okay. No one's going to see that. It's just fine. Doesn't have to be perfect. And so you'll see me use my bone folder over and over like I'm obsessed with it. I really didn't need to do it that many times, but I think I love the motion of just moving things or moving it across things like that. So now I'm going to be putting the date in with one of my Tombow, not the date, the year, with one of my Tombow dual brush markers and some stencils I've had for forever from the 99-cent only store. But as you can see here, I forgot this planner is for 2020. And right here is where I realize it. Like, no! But I happen to have another sheet of this same paper, and so I just measured off a little piece of it for where I need. Actually, no, I didn't have to get another sheet. I still had paper left over from when I trimmed this piece for the planner. So I just cut a little piece off, and you can't even tell when it's inside of the plastic. You can't tell at all. And this bone folder helps it lay really flat on here and makes it look pretty smooth. So now I'm going to put 2020 on there with my stencil, and it will be correct. But you guys know things happen. We got plenty of supplies to make things turn out the way they should, or we know how to manipulate and finagle to make everything okay. So I wound up not using the smaller stencil and decided to just go ahead and write weekly to the upper right corner of this to designate that this is the weekly planner. To my knowledge, Dollar Tree doesn't have any planners that have both monthly and weekly pages. I didn't see any, and I looked at the back to school season as well. There may have been maybe some student planners that had both, but they're not the sizes that I like to use. I don't think they did though, but I tend to use traveler's notebooks that I put planners inside of a lot. I have a Hobonichi as well, of course, but this kind of planner that I would insert in, and I didn't find any like that. There might have been some hardback ones, but this one is really decorative and colorful in the inside pages, so I didn't feel like I really needed to decorate those, general pages that are in here. But whenever the new month comes up, and I will definitely do monthly setups, and in the weekly one, this one, I'll do weekly setups and I'll decorate all of those pages. So this one has that, cover that has pockets in it as well, but it's really boring and we don't want to use that. So we're going to just create another cover for this one, and this is the weekly one again. And so because I want to fold over some of it to make pockets, then I need to measure the width of the pocket. So I'm going to measure, I started to measure in centimeters, and then I started to measure in inches to see which one was more precise, but they turned out to be about the same amount of precision. So I went ahead and went with centimeters, and so it would be a total of about 9 centimeters extra of paper that I would need so that I can make the pockets. So I went ahead and did my kind of measuring that I tend to do when I don't want to have to do all that other stuff, and so I just laid that on there. Of course, you can just measure the width of the planner and then add the 9 centimeters to it, but that's not what I did. And so I lined up the ruler with the bottom of the planner because I'm not good at drawing straight lines if I don't have some dots or a grid or something like that. So even though I did do it right there on the right. And so I thought I'd do it that way, but then I realized I did. When I got ready to cut it, I realized I didn't draw the rest of the line, which was just crazy. Things happen. Sometimes the brain just goes on vacation. But anyway, so I lined it up again, afraid that I wasn't going to have a straight enough of a line. And so I finally got the rest of it drawn on there so that I could cut it on the paper trimmer. And now we're going to go ahead and get that all set up, trying to make sure that the paper is straight. And I love using that little pink scoring tool to make sure I can see where the cut line is going to be, because sometimes you think the paper is laying straight and it really isn't. And so I had to tweak it a little bit before I cut, and there we go. Got that other little piece, and now we're ready. Going to erase the little pencil marks.
And now the way I decided to do it to make sure that my pockets would be where I wanted them to be was, first I made sure that I folded the whole sheet of paper in half, because we don't want things to be all jacked and oblong because I didn't fold it first. And then I decided to take that and lay the old cover over it, and then just kind of fold it. Well, I'm going to hold it first with a binder clip so it doesn't move, and then just kind of fold it backwards first. Using my bone folder, it just makes it easier to do that and not to have a crooked fold. Crooked fold. It helps you get a straight fold. And then I did it on both sides, and then I will fold it back on the other side. So you can see here, I'm folding it on the opposite side that I want it to be, and then I'm taking that fold and just folding it back the way that I do want it to be, making sure it's straight, and just using my bone folder to, you know, straighten it up if the fold wasn't like it needed to be. And then I'm just doing the same thing on the other side. Easy peasy. Now, if you like to use your ruler to measure every little step, then absolutely do that, because a lot of people that makes them more comfortable. I don't know. I just don't always do that. So this way, if you're kind of a person who would rather not quite wing it, but not have to measure over and over, then this is the way you can do it. So now I'm just taping the pockets. I'm using some framers tape, but you can use any tape because I'm going to cover that with some washi tape. I just want to make sure that the pockets are secure. And I spent way too much time making sure that this tape was straight, and that was so not necessary because I was going to cover it with washi tape. But that's me. That's how I do it. Okay, now I'm cutting the extra tape away so that, you know, it won't be all covering up part of the pocket that I want to use. And then I just measured my kind of way with the tape to cut out some more pieces, because I was going to need a total of 4, of course, for all the pockets. Now that those are all together, I'm just going to check and make sure that everything fits before I lay the washi tape on there, because I don't want to spend all that time doing that if everything's not legit. And there I am with my bone folder again. I'm not finished, but I'm still I'm still using my bone folder. I love it. I don't know. It's so therapeutic, I think. Okay, so now it's time to put the washi. So I was going to use this orange and pink and white washi, but it just did not look right. So I'm going to use this floral washi, and we're going to go ahead and get that wrapped around. And I really didn't need to cut a little in, but I did. So, and what I'm going to do is, at first I was going to do it that way, but no, I want it to cover the inside too. So then what I'm going to do is just take a little bit extra piece and kind of tuck it a little bit inside of the pocket so that I know it won't come apart later. You know, it won't be sticking up or get snagged on something, and it will always be on there. And then I just slowly wrapped the washi tape around, trying to get as close to the edge as I could to cover up the tape that's on there. And I just did that all the way around, and then I tucked it in on the other end too. Now I cut the little piece to tuck it in on this side a little too long, because then the tape was getting caught on the paper, sticking, because that's what it's supposed to do. So you really just need a tiny little piece, well, not tiny, but yeah, pretty tiny piece, just enough to tuck in there so you don't have to suffer like I was doing. I wound up just cutting into the tape, which you'll see in a moment, so that I would stop struggling and just get some tucked in there. It's a struggle. The struggle is real. There we go. Now it's all tucked in there, and of course I did the other side, and now it makes sense for me to be using the bone folder. Okay, and so now this one is pretty plain, and I decided to just use the markers, a pink and an orange, to go with the colors of the flowers. And I did it on all the headers. I started to do it on some of the months at the bottom those little reference months, but there's too many weeks to be doing all that. So of course I'll be decorating it as new weeks come about. And you'll see here in a little bit that I used also the orange that you're not seeing me use right now. And now I'm going to go ahead and put 2020, which I didn't mess up this time. And the way to, I don't remember if I said this or not earlier, but the way to avoid having your numbers on there crooked is just to make them crooked on purpose. And then I'm going to go ahead and put weekly on the front of this one. And voila! And so now you can see where I highlighted different things, orange and pink. And there's not a lot of extras in this particular one. And there we go, you guys. I'm just going to set it up in this traveler's notebook, a personal size, which I will actually fully set up and do in a video for you guys later. Well, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. All of my subscribers get an additional discount from my Organized Planner Chic Etsy shop, and that discount is in the description below. And in my Etsy shop, I make vegan traveler's notebooks and accessories for all traveler's notebooks, whether they're vegan or not. I also make bullet journal title cover pages and bullet journal art and printable stickers and journaling cards and stuff like that. And also check me out on Instagram at Organized Planner Chic, where I post lots of colorful pictures of my ventures and adventures and creativity. Check out my Facebook group, Organized Planner Chic Crew. Now I have a business page called The Organized Planner Chic, but the group is Organized Planner Chic Crew, and there we do frequent giveaways and gift exchanges and birthday gift exchanges. And if you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, just go to patreon.com/organizedplannerchic. And until next time, happy planning!